I'm going to be demoing a feature that we're currently working on at Acryl called Views, and we'll just jump right into it and keep it pretty quick. So first, we'll talk about the problem that we've heard from various customers of DataHub. The main problem is that once you ingest all of your assets into DataHub, sometimes you have just a huge number. So in this case, someone ingested 194,000 data sets into DataHub, and it's kind of overwhelming. It's also not that useful to be navigating that number of data assets when most people tend to only care about a subset of these. And so really what we heard is that when users are on DataHub, it's difficult for them to sort of separate the signal, i.e. the things they care about, from the noise, i.e. all of the other things. And it's kind of this realization that most users do not care about everything. They don't care about 194,000 data assets in their catalog. So for example, a data analyst may care about dashboards and charts in Looker or Tableau. A data engineer may care about dbt transforms and Snowflake tables. And then finally, applications engineers may even care about things upstream, like MongoDB collections and Kafka topics. And so Signal is kind of different for all of these different users of this one data catalog. And so the solution, what do they look like? What could we do here? Well, the first thing you could technically do to solve this problem is you could just ingest less data into DataHub, right? You could ingest 10 data sets instead of 194,000, but that kind of defeats the purpose of this central data catalog, which provides a single pane of glass into your data ecosystem. So that's not really a viable option. We could also make it easier for end users to navigate the DataHub experience and to find the data they care about. And that's kind of the solution we thought was more promising. And so now I'm going to step back and demo a feature that's currently in flight called Views that we think can help separate the signal from the noise from the everyday DataHub user. So I'm going to jump over to DataHub. And first, I'm going to start with a new screen that is under your settings, which will be called Manage Views. And this is basically a place where users of DataHub can create kind of pre-baked filters that will be applied when navigating DataHub. So across search, browse, and hopefully the homepage experience as well. And the first thing you'll notice is that we've already got kind of a list of views here. And each view has a few things, right? It has a name, it has a description, and it has a visibility. And this visibility thing is pretty interesting because what it allows you to do is to create views that are personal, meaning only you're able to see them and use them when you're navigating DataHub, or shared, meaning that all folks in your organization can view those views and apply them when they're navigating DataHub. So this is super useful if you're an admin and you're looking to cater or customize the experience for new users, for example. You can also do things like set the default for your organization as an admin. So when a new user joins DataHub, they'll already have a view applied when they're navigating DataHub. You can also have your own personal default, which will take precedence, where when you log in, that's kind of the view that's applied automatically. And enough about the high level, let's get into what exactly a view is. And to do that, we're just going to go ahead and create a new view here. We're going to start by giving it a name. So I'm going to say my demo view. And this is going to contain, let's say important data assets that I care about. Next, we're going to select the visibility. I'm just going to leave it as personal, but of course, if you're an admin, you'll have this ability to share the view as well. And then finally, I'm going to add some filters. So this is kind of the meat of the view, right? This is basically filtering down the DataHub experience or the assets that you're experiencing in DataHub using different dimensions. So these are kind of all of the classic filters you'd expect. So maybe in our case, we're going to want to filter down to only view the assets that are in Hive and maybe only those assets which have a certain glossary term. So we're going to say that are tier 1 assets. And we're going to say that they must match both of these filters to be in our view. So I'm going to say all filters. So basically Hive data assets that also are in tier 1. And then we're going to save it. And you'll see if I come up to this new drop down in the corner here that I've got a list of views. right? And so they kind of follow the structure that I talked about. We have personal views. You can see the one I just created here. And we have shared views. So these are things that all the users are going to be able to apply. I'm going to select the one I just created. And then I'm going to go ahead and do a search. And what you're going to see is that even though I'm searching all the assets across DataHub, I'm actually only seeing 2 results, right? And of course, I can continue to filter down those results even further, but I'm only seeing those results that are both in Hive and are tagged with tier 1. And to kind of further illustrate the point, we may have other views we've defined. So let's say we have a certified data assets view. Okay, in this case, we've actually defined it to be the same thing. It's actually tier one labels. And it just so happens they're also in Hive. But maybe let's see something like core, right? And maybe the core data platform only cares about things that are in Hive. So we're just seeing all of the Hive data assets. And then, of course, we can just clear the view completely and go back to the normal browsing experience in which there's 67 data assets in this case. So this just really makes it easy to kind of customize the browsing or the searching experience inside of DataHub to just those assets you want. You can imagine a new user joining and having sort of the data newbie view automatically applied so that only the most important or relevant assets are shown, and some of those that are less important or kind of junk data assets are just filtered out for them. In the long term, what we hope to do is support this ability to kind of filter down your experience across different surface areas of the product. So right here, we're seeing it in search, but you can imagine that it will also be present on the home page and most likely on the browse experience as well as we're navigating through here. So this is basically the view feature, kind of ability to define a set of filters that should be applied when you're navigating DataHub and save them, the ability to share them with the rest of your organization, and the ability to kind of change them on the fly. And I think with that, we're going to pretty much wrap up the demo, and I'll jump back into the presentation. All right, just a quick recap of what we saw. We're introducing a new concept called views, which is a set of saved filters that are automatically applied when you're navigating the DataHub experience. And views can be shared or they can be personal. So they can be public or they can be private, depending on your privileges on DataHub. For example, admins can configure shared defaults for new users coming onto the platform. And users can kind of override those with personal defaults that they've gone ahead and created. So to categorize the assets in a customized way. In terms of availability, the first milestone is kind of what you just saw. So it's shared and personal view types. It's the views being applied to the search experience. And the timeline on that is in the next 1 month. This is still very kind of an early feature. A lot of kinks are still being worked out. So we're hoping to roll this out in the next month. And that's going to be it. You can provide early feedback in a Google survey that we're going to be sharing out with this demo. Definitely take a look at that, and it would be great to get some feedback on this feature before we finish developing it. All right, I think that's it.